In-state families who tell us they were unfairly ripped apart. Fox 17 News' Dennis Ferrier has their horror stories and the local judge they blame. Children ripped from their families' homes, put in the system, even given a rape whistle for protection. Fox 17 News' Dennis Ferrier shows us the group of local moms now fighting back. A group of Williamson County moms and a family law attorney say a Franklin juvenile court judge violated their civil rights and hurt their families.
The group is asking the county to remove Judge Sharon Guffee, but the juvenile court says the judge is doing a good job. Fox 17 News' Dennis Ferrier investigates.
Next, we have citizens communication.
It is not the kind of testimony you expect at a county commission meeting. 7 parents parade to the microphone to tell horror stories. Each story will involve their kids and juvenile court Judge Sharon Guffee, who they all blame for their unhappy endings. Divorce, homelessness, sexual assault. They say all of it happened because of what happened in Judge Guffey's court. Williamson County's Natasha Pavlovich is an actress, beauty queen, and pilot. But she had no idea how the hearing about who sees her daughter when would lead to drama she had never experienced.
Someone needs to move out.
A paternity hearing that does not involve property somehow suddenly involves the 5,000 square foot home where Pavlovich and her daughter live.
Toss a coin if you have to. If you can't decide, then call me and I'll decide.
The father was staying in the unconnected guest house. Nevertheless, Judge Guffey forces the issue.
I get an order from Judge Sharon Guffee saying mother is to vacate premises immediately. Just like that, without the authority to make that order and without any due process or a hearing on it. And without a warning, I became homeless.
But with all due respect, if Your Honor, please, there is no authority of the court.
I packed my car with some of my clothes, and I packed my daughter's clothes and some of her toys. And my dog, too. And I called up some shelters. And it was so crushing. And I didn't qualify for shelters because I was a homeowner.
Family law attorney Connie regularly says Judge Guffey's actions were illegal.
The court had no jurisdiction to make a decision about who would live in the house that she was a joint owner with the father of her child. Just no, you just can't. Court can't make a decision without jurisdiction. What do you do when you're kicked out of your house and you have to sleep in your car and you get an email from your attorney that says you can't go home tonight? What do? Who do you call?
It's with a broken heart I come to you.
Allison Wolf and her husband were having trouble with their 15-year-old son. He was dabbling in drugs, hanging out with the wrong crowd. Finally, they called 911. But that move completely backfired when juvenile court Judge Guffey took the boy from his parents and put him into foster care.
She felt that my son's father putting his hands on this boy and forcing him into a bedroom was abuse. My son was never abused by my husband. He was never beaten by my husband. He was put into his bedroom by his dad.
The boy went to live in a trailer park in Laverne with a family that had multiple foster kids.
When he went into foster care, he was sexually assaulted by another child in the home. He had to be taken to the ER, and they basically gave our son a rape whistle.
Eventually, the Wolves got their son back. In fact, when the case finally went to another judge, that judge said, quote, "While the court understands the minor child does not want to go home, the legal parents have a compelling, fundamental, and constitutional right to parent their child as they see fit." Illegally, we will answer that question coming up at 9:30, and we will hear from the Williamson County Juvenile Court. I'm Dennis Ferrier, Fox 17 News.
Bad situation in family court even worse. What she has to say to families that claim she ripped them.
A group of Williamson County parents says a juvenile court judge hurt their families with terrible decisions.
Well, what does the judge have to say for herself after all this? And what are your options if you feel you are being mistreated by a judge? Fox 17 News' Dennis Ferrier now to continue our investigation.
If a family ends up in juvenile court, you can assume something has gone wrong. But tonight, a group that says Williamson County Juvenile Court makes bad things worse. A group of Williamson County parents who don't know each other are banding together trying to remove Williamson County Juvenile Judge Sharon Guffee. They say Guffee violated their civil rights and their constitutional rights to parent. It was this kind of protest that led the state legislature to create the Board of Judicial Conduct, a board that investigates complaints against Tennessee judges. But in 6 years, the Court of the Judiciary has never recommended impeaching a judge. But they say they've forced numerous judges to resign.
So if it's a serious offense, enough to remove an elected official from office, usually when we talk to the judge, they'll say, well, I'll just resign and we'll leave it at that because they don't want the public charges and embarrassment.
Judge Kraft says the majority of the complaints are that a judge ruled improperly, but that is a legal issue and must get a legal remedy.
If a juvenile court judge does something they're not supposed to do, that's a legal issue as to whether or not the judge has that authority. So that's appealed to the Court of Appeals. We cannot change the opinion of a judge. We're not an appellate court.
Not satisfying for people who feel like the decisions that hurt them cannot be undone. Critics of Judge Guffee say their families never recovered from decisions that were later undone by other judges. Judge Guffee spoke briefly at the Williamson County Commission.
My door is open, and I am happy to talk to each and every one of you at any time, because there are always many sides to the stories that we hear in juvenile court.
Judge Guffee declined our request for an interview. The Juvenile Services Director says she was tempted to speak, but instead offered a written response. Quote, "We cannot discuss the cases because the law requires it, and more important, because we believe it to be in the children's best interest. Juvenile court encounters hundreds of children each year. The cases that are brought before the court are very complicated and have multiple factors that need to be considered, but the most important consideration is always safety of the children involved. The court will continue to remain focused on protecting children and appreciate your understanding of our responsibility to do so," unquote. I'm Dennis Ferrier, Fox 17 News.